Good morning, everyone. Please let me introduce myself a bit more, since it's the first time I'm meeting with many of you. I am heading a newly configured area at WIPO called the IP and Innovation Ecosystem sector. The creation of this sector is part of a larger effort by Director General Darren Tan to sharpen WIPO's focus on helping promote the commercialization of intellectual property, particularly to small and medium-sized companies. Understanding the state of play in key areas of technology is critical to support the widest possible participation in the global intellectual property system, which had been also very important in the development of new products and new technologies in which we rely on. This is why I'm very pleased to be here today and to be able to introduce our newly study, one of the series of the technology trends on assistive technology. Innovation and assistive technology support limited or missing functions of the human being. This innovation may include simple devices like a walking stick or cutting-edge technologies and new products as complex as brain-computer interfaces or assistive robots. This innovation aids people in becoming more self-sufficient, independent, and able to participate in a wider range of activities. Currently, an estimate of 1 billion people around the world benefit from assistive technology. That figure is expected to double by 2030 as a population age. But these innovations are nothing if they cannot reach the people who need them. This report supports efforts around the world, including in the UN system, to assure that these products get the people who need them most. This report also found that many of these newly emerging technologies are converging with consumer goods. The report explored the proximity of emerging assistive products to the market, and it found that 3 out of 5 of emerging assistive products have already moved beyond the prototyping phase, and 1 out of 5 are already on the commercialization, what is without doubt a very good news. The report gives us a fascinating insight into the patterns of technological innovation and the geographical trends and how IP underpins it all. The report shows that the impact of enabling technology such artificial intelligence, brain-machine interface, new materials, and 3D printing invite big technological companies or big technology companies into a market that was typically dominated by assistive technology pure play ventures such Second Sight, W's Ideology, and others. The tech firms heading into this traditional market include Google, IBM, Microsoft, as well as consumer product companies such as Samsung, LG, and Panasonic. This creates the condition for a very healthy competition environment in which we should see the positive impact of that competition into market prices and on the availability of those products. The report used data from an impressive amount of information, and it refers to about 130,000 patent family published between 2008 and mid-2020, with about more than 15,500 filing in the specific area of emerging assistive technology, which, as you will see, and Irene will describe later on, has very important progress from the technology point of view. Regarding the origin of this innovation, China is the leader, followed by US, Germany, Japan, and the Republic of Korea. If we take the first 30 applicants in different of the fields of assistive technology, you will see primarily corporate players from Japan, the US, and Europe. And if you go down in this data, you will immediately realize that there are a number of newcomers coming and playing a very important role, both from Korea and from China. One of the reasons why in the main three front runners, those Chinese companies are not there, is mainly because the profile of Chinese corporate applicants suggests a very fragmented innovation landscape with about in between 7,000 and 8,000 portfolio holders, about the double of portfolio holders in Japan and US. When it comes to universities and public research centers, Chinese universities dominate the top, or if we take the top 100 applicants, among the 25 university and research centers, 20 are Chinese, 2 American, 1 Korean, 1 from the Russian Federation, and 1 from Japan. Those are just some of the groundbreaking findings into this report that I wanted to highlight to you, and I would like now pass the floor to Irene for more detail. Irene, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Marco. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The report is rich in data, but I would like to focus on 4 findings. The first one is that the field of assistive technology is expanding. While most of the patenting activity refers to conventional assistive technology, we see that the smaller area of emerging assistive technology is growing 3 times faster. Despite this interest in emerging assistive technology, our analysis has shown that there is a wide array of products. We have identified over 350 assistive products, which reflects the very diverse needs of users. And we identified also that these are parallel product markets, leaving room for innovation for both ends. The traditional assistive technology is also converging with a number of disciplines, including medical technologies, neuroscience, data science, etc., which is leading the way to products which go beyond mere assistance towards enhancement or even recovery of human functions, mainly through the use of implants. What Marco mentioned before about the overlap, the promising applications in our everyday mainstream consumer electronic products like wellness, fitness applications of, or car industry applications of health and emotion monitoring, to name an example, that attracts a lot of interest of different leaders in the field. This, combined with a growing aging population, is showing that we are expected to see an increased market share in the field of assistive technology, and in the end, assistive technology is relevant for all of us. The second finding is that we are moving towards smarter, more connected, and more multidisciplinary products. So the field of assistive technology is benefiting from recent advancements in areas such as advanced sensors, advanced robotics, brain-machine interface, or augmented reality, and this leads to products such as smart prosthetics, which learn from the gait of the user and ensure a more natural walk, advanced hearing aids, which can be connected to home appliances, and they regulate the sound level based on the hearing situation, or companion robots, which are multitasking and help with smart nursing, with medication dispensing, and also with social interaction. A third point is that we see a mix of players in the field of assistive technology who yet follow a different IP strategy. What companies are concerned with, we see 3 profiles. We see specialized assistive technology companies which tend to file patents in their domain of expertise, consumer electronic goods with a more diversified patent portfolio, and car industry representatives who tend to file more in mobility. We also see the importance of the role of universities in the field of advancement on emerging assistive technology. For instance, universities account for 1/3 of filings in emerging mobility. I would also like to note the importance of individual inventors who are more than average numerous in the field of assistive technology because of the nature of this area, but also because of their personal motivation to find an assistive solution for themselves or someone close to them. Last point is the changing dynamics in geographies. Traditional innovators and markets in the field of assistive technology have been the US, Japan, and Europe. And now we see that this competition or this field is joined by Chinese and Korean applicants with filings from China in the emerging assistive technology growing at 30% over the last years. But it is also worth noting the contribution from countries such as India, Israel, and the Russian Federation to the innovation landscape. We're happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Marco. The floor is open. Antonio, please go ahead. Spanish News Agency.
Good morning. So I have a couple of questions. The first one is the report concludes that only 1 in 10 people has access to these assistive technologies. So what are the main needs in this field? What are the main products that are needed by these people? And what would be the solution to this? Because I imagine that many of these technologies are really expensive for many people, and in many countries simply cannot be applied. So what could be the solution for this? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. It is indeed the issue of access has been addressed in the report. This is, of course, not the core mandate of. This is not the mandate of WIPO. Nevertheless, we have been working close with WHO. So there has been an effort of identifying a list of priority assistive products that all countries should make available to their citizens as a bare minimum. Nevertheless, as I mentioned before, there is a very wide range of users. So even if that list has around 50 assistive products, the user profile is so versatile so that we cannot identify the users as the blind user who has who just needs one type of product. Also, the settings may influence the choice of this product. So the idea also of the related effort is to give the possibility of having all these technical solutions available and hopefully make them all available to the end users.
Marco, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Irene. Very clear. Let me, many thanks for the question. There are 2 elements there. There is one element that is the innovation component, and this innovation component in the report is very well addressed in different elements that, in my view, are very relevant for the audience and for you in particular. One is the role played by the IP system to promote innovation, the role played by governments in creating ecosystems that facilitate innovation, and you will find a lot of data in that regard in the report. But one important element, in my view, is that the report shows the number of inventions in this sector that are already in the market. We mentioned 1 out of 5 of inventions in this field of assistive technology are already in the market. So those products are available. But I fully agree with you that the element of access is something that deserves policy attention, both at the multilateral level, at the regional level, and at the national level, because one important element is what the market can do to make those products available. And in that sense, as we mentioned before, the market is playing a very important role. But then there are elements that the market cannot solve, and then is when regulation and policy enters into the scene to play also a role.
Thank you, Marco. And Antonio, Marco is a Spanish speaker, so if you want to speak to him afterwards in a native language, please feel free to reconnect. Nina from AFP, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering if you could say a little bit more about, the conclusion of the report that it's very good news that these assistive technologies are being broadened out and used in regular consumer goods. If you could explain a bit about how that is a positive, I guess it impacts cost and perhaps availability, but if you could maybe delve a little bit into that and give some more concrete examples about that crossover. Thank you.
Sure. So we have some of the technologies that have the same applications, such as, for instance, bone conduction is used as an alternative to a hearing aid, and this can be used. We already see in the market bone conduction headsets for runners. So they have the same type of applications. That means the developers of these technologies for the audience, which is a must-have, are the ones that are being then contacted to apply this information for the nice-to-have rest of the users. Moreover, that invites companies which are working in the field of these consumer electronic goods, on one side to be more active in the field of assistive technology, and with that we can have benefiting the assistive technology users benefiting from this increased interest, and at the same time we can see also some examples, such as now we see over the counter hearing aids, which are FDA approved in the States, which is considered a consumer electronic good, but it can serve people who are not considered persons with a functional limitation as such, but would not otherwise benefit from a hearing aid. So people who are just starting now to lose their hearing. The other type of positive impact is that this is also for products such as, for instance, smart nursing, which is a need for people who are, for instance, elderly or have disabilities, and they allow them to live independently. We can use the same applications for digital health and telehealth. And so as a result of that, we can see more products, we can see increased competition, and something that was considered to be a niche area and a specialized product with very high prices, it starts going down. So this has a benefit for all end users.
Thank you. Assis, go ahead.
Good morning. Just one question about the assistive technologies. What would you say concerning Latin America? How is the situation in the region? Which countries are in the better situation in this field?
So we have Brazil is one of the countries which features among our both top patent offices, our list of countries of innovators where they are residing in, where they're based in. Similarly, we also have Mexico. And we also have, I think, that the examples that we have identified from Latin America and that we have included also as case studies show us the creativity of settings in Brazil. We have, for example, a case from Sycor, which is a Brazilian startup which makes exoskeleton, which would be otherwise considered a very high-end and not affordable product. They have a business model where they make the exoskeleton available to the people in need, and where they get their income from is more from the software and the licensing. So I think this is very inspiring for other countries around the world to show what are the different possibilities, and for all users in all countries to benefit. We also have identified key universities which contribute from Latin America. They are mainly based in Brazil and in Mexico. Happy to share the details.
Marco, would you like to add?
Well, just to elaborate further to Irene's reply, Assis, in the case of the specific case of Latin America, we see a prominent role both for university and public research centers. And if you take the report in the specific part of university, you will identify among others the Federal Institute of Education of Science and Technology, the University of Sao Paulo, the University of Rio Grande do Sul, the University of Minas Gerais, among those playing a role in conventional technology. And you will see others, like, for example, Institut Politécnico Nacional, or the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul also in the area of emerging technologies. So I would say, or the University of Sao Paulo also in emerging technologies. So you will see that there is without doubt an important research taking place, not only regarding conventional technology, but also in the area of emerging technology in the region, and a particular role played by Brazil.
Thank you. Peter. Peter Kenny, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Peter Kenny. I would like to ask you about another region that's not at the top of the charts here, you might say, and that is Africa. You know, where patent protection was sought only in South Africa. Now, can you comment on assistive technology in South Africa, and is Africa getting left behind in this area of development? Thank you.
I would say that the figures say the contrary, because South Africa features among our top patent offices, both in conventional and in emerging assistive technology. Also in the field of emerging assistive technology, this is a more recent development, but we see, for instance, it has been, even if it is a smaller portfolio in relation to the conventional assistive technology filings, we see that there is a 25% increase. So we see that there is this growing interest in the field. So I would say the figures are rather optimistic.
Antonio, again, from EFE.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask you to be a bit to make some predictions on the future. I know it's difficult, but in, let's say, 10 years, which of these technologies more advanced will be very common in the market and used by the people? We will see exoskeletons everywhere, for example, or which other of these new technologies will be common in a few years?
So what the exoskeleton example you mentioned, it came before reaching the assistive technology, it came from the military applications, and now we see increasing applications in manufacturing and industry. So it helps people enhance their power, they can carry more weight, so that we already see. In 10 years' time, I think it will be a reality that we will have a refined more advancements in brain-machine interface. There is a lot of interest there for a lot of communication products. So we expect to see more and more products in that field which allow us to control different devices, computers, mobile phones, and that is something that we already see big companies announcing their intention to move towards this field. But there are also a lot of other applications, like smart home applications, that we expect that they can benefit a broader range of people and more connected environments. This is something that a lot of experts have been pointing towards, so that all our devices start being learning from us, giving us more recommendations, and I think that is something that we start seeing, but in the future it will be even more accentuated.